Sports in the city. Sports in the city. Sports. We talking about the sports in the city. We keeping it gritty with that sports in the city. Coming to you live from the arena. Welcome to that sports in the city. From the east to the west coast, from the south to the north, all over the globe, there's a sports in the city wherever you are. Thanks for tuning in to Sports in the City TV. I'm your sports G, Reed Richards, along with my partner in crime, BK Ty, Ja Logic, K Cash on the bench tonight. Big ups, man. What's going on, family?
I'm great, fam. How you feeling today?
Ah, man, I'm good, man. I'm good. Another blessed day above ground, man. Can't complain, man.
What's up, man? Glad to hear that, man. Good to see you, man. Glad to be seen. And shouts out to all the sports fans, every arena, every field, every court, from north to the south to the east to the west. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Let's get it.
Yep, let's get it, man. Like, share, and subscribe on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Check in while we're live. Leave your comment. Let us know what top shelf topics you want to talk about. Want to sponsor the show? Let us know. So here we go. Let's get to it. This is going to be a classic. Yo, Ja Logic.
It's gonna be a monster, man. We gonna get that. It's gonna be a monster.
Yep, this is gonna be a monster, man. Sports in the City via the Iran Network presents Top Shelf Thursday. What's the story in the city? The word on the streets. The haps from the arena. Great men do great things. We laugh, joke, and kid, but we don't play. We don't play around. We don't mess around. We don't fool around. We get down to the business of sports. So let's get to it. Jordan and Pippen style, man. High-powered offense and defense at the same time. The Equinox Progression, Season 2, Episode 8. Ty, you already know what it is, man. The madness of March leads us to an amazing Final Four. NFL free agency is still on fire. The Bills dump Diggs, the top picks leading up to NFL draft. Is it Kalen? Is it Jaden? Is it Knicks? Is it McCarthy? MLB 2024, Week 1. The Yankees are red hot right now, so you know we're feeling good about that. The NBA regular season is nearing a close. The C's clinch. The Bucks are sputtering. The Rangers and the Devils have a 10-man brawl. I don't know if you saw that one. Got to check that out. And we got much more in store with flavors galore in our sports candy store. So let's get to it, man. Strictly top shelf off the top of the pile.
Shouts out to J58. Good looking out, bro.
In the building. Top shelf, man. NCAA Final Four matchups. Yeah, man. So let's look at them brackets, man. On the women's side, you know what the matchup is. The marquee matchup is, Ty. I ain't even got to tell you. UConn versus the Hawkeyes, the Lady Hawkeyes. Talk to me about that, G.
That's going to be a crazy matchup. Paige Buckets, excuse me. Caitlin Clark, the NCAA all-time leading scorer. That's going to be a big match, man. That's definitely going to be a hell of a matchup there, man. And I think Aya was better prepared for this game than they were last year when they got knocked out. Because I think one thing with Caitlin Clark, man, is she's an incredible scorer, but the last couple of games, man, she's made a concerted effort to get her teammates involved, man, with some incredible passing, man. Some incredible passes, man.
Right.
But Paige Beckers is do it all too. And UConn is a very, very balanced and well-rounded team, man. So to your point, that is absolutely. When is that? Is that tomorrow or is that Saturday?
That's on the That's on the 5th at 9 p.m. tip off.
That's tomorrow.
Iowa,
Okay.
number 1 seeded Iowa versus the number 3 seed Yukon Lady Huskies. And to your point, she's averaging about 10 dimes a game, bro.
Yeah, man.
And averaging about 31 points a game. So Caitlin Clark is definitely doing her thing. But to your other point, Paige Buckets is also doing a thing, averaging about 27 a game, almost 9 assists, and she averages, a little bit more rebounds, but than Caitlin. But it's an even match. So to me, all right. So them two are washed. Maybe Caitlin will be a better shooter, but Gino Oriema came out this week and said that Paige Buckets is the best lady basketball player in the land. What say you on the college level? Because we ain't talking WNBA right now.
I admire a dude. I admire a head coach that says something like that. Not even admire, because that's what he's supposed to say. But as good as Paige Beckers is, man, there is no question, man, that Caitlin Clark is. I mean, they're already saying that that's how they're already putting her on a certain level for when she reaches the WNBA, like that. Like, and not to say that Paige Beckers is there's not a big gap, but Caitlin Clark is a monster, man. She's just it's just I don't even know how to put it, man. Just to watch the things that she does, how crafty she is.
What they say nowadays, she's a one of one.
She's a one of one, man. She's a one of one.
The only thing that you could compare her to on the men's side is I can't even find a comparison on the women's side as far as her shooting and so forth, right? And it's only like you got Ionescu in the WNBA, comparatively speaking, because we don't know what Caitlin is going to do once she reaches to the to the big leagues.
Right.
But Steph Curry, like as far as like shooting, just like straight shooter, she's just a straight shooter. Like, I mean, there's more to her game, but she is recognized as the best shooter that we've seen, if not forever, in a long time. What say you on that point?
She is. So Steph Curry wasn't Steph Curry when he came into the league. His first couple of years in Golden State. She's already coming in to the league. She'll be going into the WNBA kind of on that status, not as far as greatness is concerned, but as far as this uncanny ability and skills. Because to your point, her game is so extremely similar to Steph's, not just with the shooting. Steph is a very adept ball handler. He can get teammates involved in the game with ease because of the defensive attention that he draws on every contest. So I definitely think it's a fair comparison that you made, and not just because of the shooting, but her shooting is otherworldly as well.
That's 100% correct, man. I agree with you on that. So Iowa defeated LSU 94-87 in the semis. Talk about that game with Angel Reese and LSU Lady Tigers, Kim Wilkie. They have a little rivalry going on because they actually knocked Iowa out last year.
Yeah, they flipped the script.
So that was a bit of revenge, a taste of revenge, and it was sweet for Caitlin, because I think that if this doesn't end in a trip to the championship game for her, it's not going to live up to expectations. What say you on that point? Like, if they get knocked out in this next round by UConn, what do you think the season is? I mean, individually, she's successful, but as a team for Iowa, if they don't get past UConn,
I think it'll be a disappointment
to a certain extent. Yeah,
a disappointment, but I don't think it should be. I mean, I don't think it should be looked at negatively, because we're talking about UConn.
right?
We're talking about a dynastic sports program here.
Right.
on both sides of the ball when you think about it, man, men's and women's, but definitely the women's program.
Right.
Ironically, I heard something today
Mm.
or yesterday that Caitlin Clark,
Mm-hmm.
when she was in high school, her senior year, never got recruited by UConn.
Mm.
And that was one of her, if not her favorite, basketball school. Like I heard she went to a carnival or something, and you know how they draw the caricatures of you, the cartoon pictures of you.
Mm-hmm.
They had the artist draw her in a UConn
She went to the
Huskies
Deuce.
jersey.
She went to the Deuce.
I don't know. She went to the Deuce and got it. But yeah, she got one of those, and they said she kept it for years. Like I think they said she still has it.
Right.
And it was just ironic that UConn never recruited her. Side story, that's crazy. But yeah, I her ability is just it just puts her on another level, because I don't think there was ever a player. There have been players that could shoot, there have been players that could handle the rock, there have been players
Right.
that were playmakers.
Right.
And they've had players that have done that at high levels, but I think this is the first time we're really seeing it at a high level, all in one package. I mean, she's almost like the perfect women's basketball player size, man. She has size, what is she, 6 feet, 6'1", something like that?
Yes, sir.
So I mean, this is gonna be, if the WNBA were looking for anything to really help boost interest in their sport, man, I think this is probably the best that they're gonna do, or the best shot that they have in a few years. Short of somebody coming in and just dunking regularly, because that's what I think it'll take for interest in the WNBA to climb like that, is for there to be a little more athleticism with regards to dunking and stuff like that. But right under dunking is the phenomenon that Steph Curry has created. And there's no one more suited to, carry that torch in the WNBA than Caitlin Clark next season.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And to your point, UConn is a very well-rounded team. They just knocked off USC, so this is going to be an incredible matchup.
Yep.
Who you
And
got? Who you got in this one?
Hold on, J58 had a question. He said Steph never had the green light like that until Mark Jackson looked out, and that was exactly
That's
the point
true.
that I was making, Jay. Steph came in the league. He was a good player. His draft position showed that, but
Right.
he wasn't thought of the way he's thought of now. And the difference between him and Caitlin Clark is going to come into the WNBA
With that hype
already on that pedestal, so to speak.
Yeah, because Steph kind of he
With
flew
that green
under the
light, to what Jay
radar.
said. Yeah.
He flew under the radar, and he did have a breakout tournament with Davidson. And then the other thing too was he wasn't at a big major school, because when you think of basketball, men's ranks, we ain't even talking about women's. I don't know if Davidson even fields the team, but in the men's ranks, Davidson is not considered like a Power 5 school. So he definitely flew under the radar. And to Jay's point, once he got to the NBA, that's when he was able to, spread his wings and become the greatest shooter of all time.
Yep.
Well, I don't think she's gonna take that big 3 deal. What say you, Ty? I don't think she's gonna take it.
I don't. I think it'll be good for the sport, but at the same time, I think it to me, it kind of makes a mockery of it. It makes it more sideshowish. And to me, I love to think of the big three as, for lack of a better way, a retirement league.
Right.
Like, these guys can still play,
Right.
not to the level of an NBA schedule, how that would dictate, but a couple of pickup games once or twice a week, or once a week or something like that.
Right.
These guys can still get out there and play quality ball. And I'm not against co-ed sports. I play pickup ball with females on the team and all of that.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Celebrity, the celebrity games that they have and stuff like that.
Right.
That's all good and well. But
right.
For real competition, like you get Caitlin Clark in there then you got to have other women in there. You gotta kind of balance it out. You know what I'm saying? I just think I just think it's too. Listen, I don't. I kind of wish Ice Cube didn't make that offer to her. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, it kind of delegitimizes his league. You know what I'm saying? It makes it more of a spectacle, man. And I know the big three ain't it's not up there with like, you know, certain other semi-pro sports leagues or lower tier sports pro leagues. But I'd like to think of it that way for the reasons I just mentioned. And doing something like, you know, bringing in a female player, especially a female who's never played professional sports, is very gimmicky to me. Now, if I'm Caitlin Clark, I'm taking that dough all day, because what I'm going to do is transfer that notoriety that I'm going to get off of people hearing, oh, you know, she held her own with, you know, this player and that player who used to do this, and this player that played on this championship team. She's just going to carry that notoriety on to the WNBA, and then they're going to get more viewers as a result.
Let's just say she takes the deal from the big three, right?
Right.
You playing in the big three league. How are you D'ing Caitlin up? You playing her hard and going hard body at her, or you letting her rock?
Yeah, I think to a point that somebody made, it would be easier for her, I think, to get a shot off in the NBA as opposed to the big three, because in the big three, there's three people on the court, and it's not really a lot of like the screens and different things of that nature.
Right.
You know, like she'd be taking a lot of those 4-pointers. Just because I think dudes at that level, at their conditioning, after a certain part of the game would be like, all right, I'm gonna let her take shots because I'm a little winded or I'm not as conditioned as she is or whatever. So, but it like in the NBA, you know, running around off of screens and stuff like that, I think she'd get more legitimate open shots in that manner, even though she might get one or two off. So I think it's, you know, tit for tat, not tit for tat, but you know, either way, it's I don't think she'd fare too well. She might get a shot or two off, but especially if if teams started focusing on her. Like, all right, we're gonna lock her down, we're gonna throw double teams at her, we're gonna bump her off of screens, crap like that. You know, I don't know, first of all, if she's durable enough to take all of that.
That's true. Now, the offer was $5 million from the big three.
Yeah.
A lot of people got caught up in those numbers because, comparatively speaking, in the WNBA, the highest player is about 2 and change, 230, somewhere in that area.
2.25.
So now, to that point, Caitlin in sponsorships is going to make more than $5 million. She's already, isn't she in it like a
already make? Well, I don't know. Right. She's not making more than $5 million, but I know she's making. When she gets
in NIL, she got Gatorade. She's already got a deal with Gatorade. I already saw that. So
State Farm,
right? So in endorsement, she's going to be able to amass at least $5 million per year. I would estimate that and give that some leeway and probably say that she gets more than that. On that note, I think she goes to the WNBA and maintains her legitimacy, because she doesn't want to be like back in the days. And I was telling Cato this the other day, Nancy Lieberman had the same type of talent, but because there was no women's league, she had to go play with the Globetrotters. And a lot of people, you know, whether they know basketball or not, look at the Globetrotters as entertainment as opposed to highly skilled players, although there have been many highly skilled players that have played in college and in the pros that also played for the Globetrotters. Most notably, you had Wilt Chamberlain at one point. On the women's side, you had Nancy Lieberman. I believe what's her name? Spoon from Teresa Witherspoon from the Liberty. She's played with the Globetrotters, and there have been other women who played with the Globetrotters. But I think that she goes to the WNBA to legitimize the sport. And as we have been talking over the last several years, since like about 5 years or so, that the women's salaries need to, increase, and also their level of players increase to match the warrant to pay them more. So I think she goes to the WNBA. Who you think wins that game though? The big question right here. Yeah, she gonna get that. She gonna get
Iowa
at
and
least
UConn?
100. Yeah.
No, I
Yep.
think Jay is saying 100,000 a year, if that. No, but it's
Yeah.
Jackie Young from the Aces is the highest paid WNBA player. She makes
Yeah.
252.
Okay. So who's gonna win that game? UConn and Iowa.
I'm gonna go with Iowa, man. I'm gonna go
Okay.
with Iowa. I think here's where I kind of defer to the conspiracy theorists. I definitely think that there is
A happy ending.
a concerted, if not subliminal effort to get Caitlin Clark to face the Lady Gamecocks in the women's championship.
Gotcha.
Yeah, in the women's final. You know what I mean? So I really think they're gonna do their. I hate, like I said, I hate to say people are gonna cheat, man, but I just think momentum. Let's put it that way. That's a good way to put it. Momentum favors Iowa.
Okay. Well, let's just hope, man, that they give UConn a fair shot, and there's no home cooking from the refs, and there's no calls from up at the press box, the presidential suite, calling down to the scores table and sending any messages, man. Let them earn it. Let Caitlin and Iowa earn it.
For sure.
As far as the Lady Gamecocks, got to big up Dawn Staley, first of all, for winning her second straight
Salute.
AP Coach of the Year in the NCAA women's side, and the second straight undefeated season, which has not been done since the 90s, as we mentioned, with UConn Lady Huskies. And they're going up against the NC State, or what are they? Lady Wolfpacks.
Lady Wolfpacks.
Yeah, so let's talk about that game. Gamecocks, you look like you're Gamecocks.
Yeah, man. It's South Carolina's going. South Carolina, man.
It would be an upset. It would be a major.
That would be an incredible upset of I don't know what proportions.
Of a dynamic proportion. I definitely have to agree with that. And I mean, of course, Caitlin Clark is the big draw and the big attention. Her matchup with Paige Buckets, but South Carolina, man. All you can say when you think about that program is how Dawn Staley turned it around, and has been such an exceptional coach, has showed great sportsmanship and great competitiveness. And she has the Lady Gamecocks in position, this year. I mean, although they got knocked out last year, but wasn't it Caitlin and and Iowa that knocked them out last year? So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got knocked out in the semis last year, right? So it would be an interesting matchup. Does NC State have a chance?
I think they have as good a chance as any, man. When we reference again momentum,
Mm-hmm.
And then they got, I think an underrated all-world player, with Asia James, also shout out because she's from this area. As a matter of fact, she's my sister went to the same high school that my sister graduated from the same high school that Asia went to. Tragically, her brother, who was a phenomenal basketball player himself out in this area, he lost his life the summer before he was to start his freshman year in college or whatever. So I know she's dedicating a lot of this season, or in the least, drawing a lot of emotional strength from her brother's memory, man. So, definitely shout out to NC State. Shout out to all the Princess Anne family out here in 757 Hampton Roads. But yeah, I think it would be a good story, but I just South Carolina is that train, man. Is that unstoppable juggernaut right now, man. I think they had their taste of being unfocused and what it can do to you in that game that they almost lost to Tennessee. And I'm pretty sure Dawn Staley has that team to the point where like they're probably approaching games like they're the underdog, which is why they just, are tearing through everybody. But it would be an incredible story. And much as I'm torn, like I said, man, I want to see Dawn win that chip. You know what I'm
Right, that'll
saying?
be her
I
third
want to
one.
see that. I want to see that undefeated season culminating with a chip. But at the same time, it would be nice to see NC State win it because of Asia James, like I said. But I don't think NC State would get past Iowa or UConn in a final.
Okay. South Carolina got challenged by Indiana. That was a close one. They won that one 79 to 74. And then NC State beat Tennessee. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, man. What about on the men's side? Let's move on to the men's bracket and take a look at the Final Four matchup there.
Yeah, I only got one team. Talk about a bracket being torn to pieces, man. My bracket been busted. UConn is the only team I have still in it that I have in my Final Four.
Right.
But crazy enough, not crazy, but UConn, I also had them going all the way. So I'm gonna still stick with that. UConn all the way.
Right. So UConn is the second matchup on the 6th, and it's 8:49 p.m. tip off on TBS. I don't know why 8:49, but anyway, it is what it is. UConn is ranked number 1 in there, going up against the number 4 seed Alabama, which is normally a football powerhouse.
Yeah.
But they are in the Final Four in basketball this year. So who you got in that matchup, G?
Definitely got UConn, man. But it's funny you said that, man. I was chopping it up with one of my young homies over the weekend, man. He's actually from Alabama, and we were talking about the Final Four and whatnot, and how Alabama was, at the time was in the Elite Eight, and it was in the Elite Eight at the time, and he was like, "That's crazy." He was like, "Bama," he was like, "That's a football school," and I was like, "Yeah, that's crazy, ain't it?" So, you just mentioned the same thing, man. I think, I'm riding with UConn all the way, man. Danny Hurley is the best coach in college basketball right now. He's got them boys, those young men, operating on all cylinders right now. So, definitely going UConn.
Okay. What about the second? Excuse me, the second matchup. Well, the first matchup that's going to tip off, which is out of the 1 or 2, is going to be the NC State Wolfpack versus the Purdue Boilermakers, who are ranked number 1. Now, the NC State Wolfpack is definitely a Cinderella. They are an 11th seed, so that's going to be on TBS at 6:09. So who you have in that matchup, G?
To your point, man, NC State, it is a great Cinderella story, but I definitely got Purdue going at them. They finally got some size. They're gonna have some size to match up with what's your boy's name from NC State, man, the big dude,
DJ Burns.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be an interesting matchup because they're two big men, but their stature and their games are kind of different.
Yeah.
Edie is a more close to the bucket, He can face up
He's a
to
more
the
he's more of a
basket as
traditional
well.
big man. Yeah.
And then DJ Burns is more of he's kind of like a
Like a
Zion
Jokic.
Williams type.
Like a poor man's Jokic almost.
Who? DJ Burns?
Yeah, with the passing and like the post, the pivoting and stuff like that.
He
Not
comes
saying
off the wing a little bit more to me because Jokic is more in the center of the whole.
true. Yeah,
I
the
see
high
DJ
post.
Burns. He has some baseline. He has more baseline moves at his position, and his girth is just different. I see him just spin off of dudes like
Yeah,
Fat Albert, and then just flip the ball up. I'm not just saying just flip the ball up, but I'm just saying he make it look so effortlessly that
yeah.
his game is kind of different. But it's going to be an interesting matchup. Who do you think wins that matchup between Edie and Burns?
Um, that's gonna be a good matchup. Like I said, Edie got when I say size, I meant more so the height than anything else, man. And the physical stature to kind of contend with Burns. But I think I'm going with Purdue in this one, man.
Okay. Well, I would have to say in this matchup, I smell a upset, but I might have picked Purdue in my bracket. But the way NC State got into the tournament, they had to win 5 straight games coming out of their conference tournament,
Yep.
and then they've been on a run ever since. So it's definitely an incredible Cinderella story and going to be an interesting matchup to watch either way, man. So just taking a
11 seed.
look,
That's crazy. Has an
huh?
11 seed ever made the Final Four?
That's a good question, but I know 11 seeds are infamous for upsets. That's for
Right.
sure. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Maybe take a look into that and see how many 11 seeds have made it to the final four. So I'm gonna move on to the women's side,
Oh, it's
and
been quite a few.
to
Sorry.
your point, South Carolina is who I had in the championship versus USC, but Juju and the aspirations of the Lady Trojans, they got sidelined and derailed. So I have South Carolina is in the championship game. Actually had South Carolina and Stanford who got upset,
Mm,
right? So that's going to be an interesting matchup, on the ladies side. And yeah, that's all I got left on the ladies side, man. What about
yeah.
you? Did you have a final four? Did you?
Only South Carolina and Iowa. I actually had Texas and USC. I had Texas playing South Carolina
Mhm.
in the Final Four, and Iowa facing USC, not UConn.
Mm. Yeah, on the
And on the men's, oh no,
yeah,
I told you about the men's. Yeah, UConn is the only. I had UConn, Arizona, Houston, and Tennessee
got you,
in the Final Four.
got you. On the men's side, wow. Let me modulate this once again. Okay, here we go. On the men's side, because I was like, hold on, that didn't look correct. All right. On the men's side, let me see who I have left in this because this has been a crazy year, man, as far as brackets getting busted left and right. Well, I had San Diego State, man, versus Creighton. So I was not in the network this year, man. So any final thoughts on the championship games? I mean, excuse me, the final four leading up to the championship games?
Um, no, just that
To,
Iowa and UConn game is going to be something.
so you have South Carolina winning it all
Yeah,
on the men's side, excuse me, on the women's side. Then on the men's side, you have
UConn.
UConn. Okay. It would be something else too with historic if
That's
UConn
another
Lady
good one.
Huskies
When's the
and the
last time both a
UConn
men's and women's
Huskies,
team?
right? So we're gonna move on from that. That would be interesting to see though. NFL helmet to helmet, man. NFL free agency is still on fire, and it's leading us up to the NFL draft and the top picks coming out. Wow, free agency is still lit. The floor is open, man. What's top shelf? Someone got a shovel to dig me out of Buffalo?
Yeah, man. You talking about Stefon?
Stefon Diggs gets dumped by the Bills. Diggs is gone. He's traded to Houston for a pick this year and a pick next year.
A second and a sixth, I think they said. Was it?
And they're gonna pick up $31 million in dead cap salary. So the Bills wanted him out of there. Let's talk about that, because to me, of course, we didn't see it coming as far as the timing is concerned, but the writing has been on the wall. If you've seen Diggs and Josh Allen on the sidelines and then during games, after press conferences. Last week, he just changed his social media handle and told the Bills bye-bye. So talk about it.
I think that's what they call addition by subtraction for Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you having issues, and to your point that you just made, man, they obviously him and Josh Allen weren't seeing eye to eye, man. So
right,
you know, they did the best thing they could, man, and shipped them out of there, you know. Right. Which, you know, Stefon Diggs, from my understanding, you know, can be I won't say abrasive, man, but you know, he's known to wear out his welcome for
if Geologic could pull up some footage, no, you're actually correct when you can say abrasive. If you see some of the footage of him on the sidelines, you would think that him and Josh Allen had like Mortal Kombat beef, bro. Because he wasn't a friendly neighbor. But not only that, bro, in Minnesota, he had the same problem with Kirk Cousins. He wants the ball all the time. And I understand he's not the first wide receiver to have a diva complex and demand the ball. You know, I think Keyshawn Johnson wrote a book. Give me the damn ball, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But to the point is, like, a lot of people say, well, Stefon Diggs made Josh Allen better because he's a number one receiver. Once he had a number one receiver, his level of play went up. But where did it get them? The closest they got was when Josh Allen outplayed Patrick Mahomes. The Bills just gave that AFC Championship game away. Then they came back the next year and they lost to the Bengals. And then we know what happened this year. They fell short again to the Chiefs. So now, you're not getting along with your quarterback. It left the organization no choice because they weren't going to keep Diggs and get rid of Josh Allen. Like, that would have made absolutely no sense. So was that the right move for them, not to just get rid of him, but I don't think they really got a lot in return. And they're taking a big hit, so they just wanted to be done with dude, huh?
Again, like I said, sometimes it's addition by subtraction. Man, I think he was probably just a bigger headache than anybody realized with regards to having harmony in that offense. And, you know, that's kind of evidenced by, you know, his role every year. Like his catches dropped the last, you know, every year was, you know, less than the season before. So, you know, definitely let him get out of there and I guess get a new start, man. But to your point, they got to eat that contract because, you know, you brought him in there thinking it was going to be, how did Marlo from the Wire say? You thought it was going to be one way, but it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? And the other thing too, real quick, the last thing I'll say real quick is that puts more pressure on Josh Allen and Buffalo now. I mean, you got rid of a pretty damn good quarterback in his prime, yo.
But
So
he's
I
a
don't.
wide receiver,
I
right?
mean, look at me, quarterback. Sorry, you got rid of a pretty damn good wide receiver in
Mm-hmm.
his prime, a pretty darn good weapon that,
Mm.
regardless of what differences y'all had, you should have a talent like that. You got to find some way to work him in, man, and get more use out of him. So you getting rid of that,
Can't
you
win
know,
with him. As
right?
Singletary said, can't win with him, bro. When
You're
you
right. So
win with him,
now you don't got no excuses because you know what'll happen next. It'll be, oh, his weapons, and somebody gets hurt, and Buffalo's window, Josh Allen's window, man, for keeping talent around him and still being able to contend, man. You don't do that too long in football, man.
okay.
It's
To your
actually
point.
kind of cyclical. You can, like, I think of quarterbacks who were good and then had to deal with a lull and then came back and were good again. The
But he
two that
never had a lull though. He came in as a rookie.
right, but I'm saying
He
he's
hasn't
get
been lull though.
he's got a couple more.
Nah, man, I can't agree with that. I'm
I'm
gonna
not
say
talking
to
about.
this,
I am not talking about as far as his
but
ability.
this
I'm
is the
talking about
thing,
as
and this
far
is
as the
what you're
team that you
alluding
have
to.
around you. Go
This
ahead.
is what you're alluding to. Is
Yes.
that Stefon Diggs is the reason why Josh Allen was good, and I can't agree with that. Because now that
No,
Stefon is gone,
I'm
you're saying,
no.
well, it can't be a fall off. Yeah, it could be a fall off. It might have to do with some rebuilding because they're taking a big cap hit for one. So who they put around him might have to be some veterans that come in and play at some lower salaries, or they have a plan to draft, in the upcoming draft to kind of replace Stefon Diggs. But let me just throw this out there. The second half of the season, Stefon Diggs' production went from over 100 yards a game to about 50 yards a game, and his targets went down. So it's definitely not a talent issue. But when you're on the sideline barking at your quarterback and waving your hands and getting really like animated and with no discretion, I mean, at the end of the day, he left the organization no choice. So now let's flip it on the other side. He gets to Houston. He's playing with this young stalwart CJ Stroud, Miko Ryans, and them boys. I mean, them young fellas down there in Houston. Is he gonna bring the same mentality, like, yo, give me the ball, or is he gonna try to fit into the team and the culture and just try to win, man, and stop being such a distraction?
He absolutely is going to be on his best behavior because the team you was getting big bread from let you walk. They ate your contract and just like, yo, just go ahead and get him out of here. So to what we were saying about him still being a good quarterback, a good wide receiver, a top tier wide receiver.
Yeah, number one.
You looking at, you got to be on your. It's a contract year. Let's put it like that. For all intents and purposes, this is a contract year. So, or a contract year coming up. So yeah, he will absolutely be more of a team player. To your point about the barking and the discontent and being demonstrative and all of that stuff. Nah. Because the other side to that too is you saw how far Houston got this season. We saw how
Without
good they
him.
were.
Without
We saw
him.
how good they
They're
were.
trending upwards.
They're trending upwards, man. Be a part of that. You know
So
what I'm
he can
saying?
either be in the mix to get him closer to the Chiefs, the Ravens. We don't know what the Bills are going to do because they might have slipped, but they are in that tier where they're the next tier up. There's only the Chiefs and the Ravens. They trended upwardly and they did it so fast. They overachieved.
Yeah.
So if he goes in,
they overachieved because they were underrated.
That too. And CJ Stroud is on a rookie contract, and they could definitely build around him.
Yeah, man. It's good when you get a young quarterback that comes out the gate.
Balling.
Really
Just
balling, man. Yeah.
So
sure.
this is the point now. If the Texans slip and there's any sign of discontent with CJ Stroud and Stefon Diggs, the coach, because he would balk on the coach too, So, and I don't think that they're having that culture in Houston. So we're gonna have to see. You were a betting man, not saying that you are. If you were a betting man, you betting on Diggs in Houston or not?
On him being productive and
Yeah, to help the team and be
having a good
productive, be a good
on the field.
citizen.
Yeah. I'd put money on that, man. Like I said, man, if you don't put money on anything else, man, the two biggest factors that have always been overwhelming factors in that regard are change of scenery and contract year.
Okay. Well, this will be his third strike. If he fails in Houston, that'll be his third strike, and then he starts becoming a journeyman, and all that number one wide receiver talk is out the window. All right, so that was definitely the breaking news of the day.
Yeah.
Now, any other moves in the NFL free agency before we move along to the NFL draft and talk about that a little bit?
No free agent moves. Speak of right now.
The
Nothing
Jets
big,
have
man.
shored up. The Jets have shored up their team. So it's going to be interesting to see if they are able to win the AFC East. Now that Buffalo lost Diggs, the word on the street is, the story now is, okay, the Jets with all the offseason moves that they've made, they're looking stacked. And now the Bills have slipped a little bit, to your point, lost their biggest offensive weapon. Well, that even out or puts the Jets over the top where they have the AFC East to lose. Barring injury and all that. We ain't talking about injury-wise. They do have some older players.
What's Miami looking like?
Well, that's another point. Like,
because I don't think New England, barring them, having some incredible luck at the QB position next season, I don't see New England, competing to contend for the title in the AFC East. But Miami, don't forget, Miami had one of the, not even just last season, historically one of the most potent offenses in the league last year. And unless Tyreek Hill is retiring, they
can run it back. They can run it back.
They can.
But the knock on them last year was that they would beat all the teams that they needed to beat, who were 500 and below. But they were like 3-5 against teams
in adverse conditions, like
with teams versus
winning records, all kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, over 500.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't even gonna say adverse conditions because you're getting paid to win on the road. But I would say against winning teams, they had a losing record, and that was their Achilles. So we're gonna
didn't they only have one loss at home last year? Incredible home field.
They were like 3-5 on. I would say they might have won most of the games, and I'm not gonna say all of them. Yeah, I'm not gonna say all of them. But they definitely had a formidable home record. They were definitely more. They definitely won more at home than they did on the road. Which most teams do in football. Unless you're just having an incredible year. But they were like 12-5, 11-6 last year. So if they lost,
they were 7-2 at home last year.
Yeah. So the other 3 losses were on the road. So moving along from NFL free agency now, we're gonna move along to touch on the NFL draft, which is coming up April 27th. So number 1 pick, man. Who's going number 1? Caleb, Jaden, Bo Nix, McCarthy.
I think it's a given that it's going to be Caleb.
Michael Penix. Well, the story and the word that I've heard on the street is the pendulum is tipped over some. It was no doubt about it. Caleb Williams to the Bears, especially after the pro day that Jaden McDaniels had. They said, the way that ball comes out of his hand, his presence, his aura, his leadership, they said that you could see Jaden McDaniels going first over Caleb Williams. And the main knock on Jaden is his sleight of build. But
Yeah.
he's 6'4", 6'5", 220. He's a wiry. Not every player is going to be like muscle bound. He's not going to be built like, he's not built like Lamar Jackson. He's more
He's
wiry.
built a lot like CJ Stroud, isn't he?
Well,
Not as
CJ's bulked up some, but
yeah,
they have
CJ's a little
about the
heavier, but yeah, about the same.
body type,
Yeah.
and McDaniels would have to put on about another 20, 25 pounds. So then Bo Nix came in, had a great pro day, and so did McCarthy. So now, what order do you think they go in? Those four right there. Those, and Michael Penix has been spoken about as well, but his injuries have kind of
Yeah,
hurt him.
I saw one mock draft where somebody had the Giants picking Penix at 6th. And I think that's just somebody who thinks the Giants are desperate enough to roll the dice on it. I mean, Jones is bad, but I mean, I don't think Michael Penix Jr.
If Penix stays healthy, because that's like, to me, that's his biggest knock right now, because he was among the best of the best. So, I mean, could it get worse for the Giants if they picked Penix? Well, that wouldn't be your preference. So then, give me your preference. Then, if you're the GM and you're just saying, okay, these are the quarterbacks, and I think they go in this order. Of course, you got to deal with other teams in their position and in their moves they got to make. But
put it
right
like
now,
this:
it's all a forecast.
If the Giants are going to draft a quarterback,
yeah,
they're gonna trade up, or they're gonna wait till a later round And by trade up, they're gonna trade up to like one of the top 3 spots, because I think you have 4 quarterbacks in the draft right now that either through the combine or their pro day have shown or given enough hope to GMs to think that these guys could eventually be a franchise QB. Caleb Williams, who has probably been the consensus number 1 all season. Jaden Daniels, to your point, who has recently, with his pro day, kind of taken over as the consensus best quarterback in the draft, probably the most talented, the most gifted athletically, like you said, and then arm strength and everything.
Accuracy. His accuracy is what they were really talking about.
Right.
That he can make all the throws, and whether it's long bombs, precision passes, in the slant, in the middle of the field, he makes all of the throws. He's made more of the NFL throws than Caleb Williams.
Right. So, and then you got Drake May, who from Carolina,
correct,
who a lot of people were saying that Drake May was somebody that the Giants had on their radar, who they would consider picking if trading up to get, or if he were available, would make that. Well, this is at the time when the Giants were kind of, really, really crappy, weren't winning any games, and we were thought to be in the position to end up with one of the top 3, but not the top 2 or whatever. Like, so to be in the top 3, I was hearing Drake May a lot. I was also hearing JJ McCarthy, but not as much. Right. JJ kind of came on towards the end of the year, and that's more so due to the system. I think the system that he came from. Some people would say that people only covered him. He only looks like a good quarterback because he played in Michigan's system. Other people would say, yo, there's so much more he can do. He's kind of being held back because he has to play in Michigan's system. And I think that second sentiment is the one that's gaining more popularity in the last couple of weeks, because in almost every mock draft that I've seen, In the last 2 weeks, they have
Mhm.
all 4 quarterbacks. McCarthy,
Going
May,
top 10.
yeah, going top 5. All 4 of the Williams,
Well,
Daniels,
it de-
McCarthy, and May, and then also
I
Marvin
saw that,
Harrison
but I
Jr.
can't agree with that because you don't know what teams are going to do and so forth. But I would definitely say top 10 because
True
in
that.
that top
True
5
that.
spot, you never know. Like,
You right.
so you're a GM. Who you taking? If you're the GM of the Giants now and the needs of the team,
I
or you
definitely
taking the quarterback because then you could also take Marvin Harrison Jr.
I wouldn't take somebody like Marvin Harrison Jr. if I that's like getting high powered ammunition and you got a regular gun. You know, I'm not doing that. I'm not making that type of investment.
Right. Well,
I'd rather do like see, and I don't want to do lineman again because I think Giants fans are just so
so they need a
programmed.
quarterback then. Let's just put it out
We
there,
definitely
G.
need a quarterback. They
All right.
definitely
So
need a
who you
quarterback.
taking? Who you taking, God? Push the button, man. Push the button.
I can't. I can't.
All right. So we come back to
I
you on
wanted
that
listen,
then.
because I wanted Daniels, man. That's who I wanted. I wanted Jaden Daniels,
All right. So say less then. Jaden Daniels it
he's
is.
not going to be there. And I don't think the Giants is going to trade all the way up to number 2. I don't think they're going to give up what it takes to get up to number 2.
All right.
And on top of
So
that, I don't think Washington is going to trade with New York. So
all right, I can see that. All right, so we're gonna keep that on the back burner because the NFL draft is approaching us within the next 2 to 3 weeks, and we will revisit that. So Jaden Daniels, we gonna see how it goes down, baby. And there's gonna be more reports made. So moving along, NBA round ball around the world. The teams rising to the top and the teams that are not, man. Let's cover the paint with the NBA standings, and we're gonna get right to it. So we got the Celtics who clinched last night at 16-16, followed by the Bucks, who's taken a couple pitiful L's over the last week. Got the Cavaliers in third spot. Got the Magic overtaking our Knicks. They're in the fourth spot. Boo, K Cash, if you listening, man, down with the Magic, man. The Knicks is in the 5 spot. Then you got the Heat.
5 and dropping.
Yeah, don't jinx us anymore, bro. Let's try to hold the ship. Like when the sinking sinking, and you try to, batten down the hatches, man. So Miami Heat is in the 6th spot. The Pacers 7. The Sixers, who were blessed with the return of Joel Embiid, is in the 8th spot, and they're trending upwards. And the Chicago Bulls in the 9, and the Hawks close out the 10th spot. Nets, Raptors, Hornets, Wizards, and Pistons, unfortunately, are not in the network. Let's talk about the Eastern Conference. Boston Celtics, man, is if their conference to lose, because, I mean, at some point, we have to stop talking about the Celtics and saying, okay, last week, Cato was blaming Kyrie because they didn't make it past a certain point in the playoffs. Then they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Then they made it to the finals, but they have no chips to show for it, man. Talk to me about them Celtics, man. Is this their year?
The Celtics and the second place team in the East have a bigger gap than the best team in the West, who are Minnesota and Denver right now. They're both currently tied. It's a bigger gap than the best team in the West has over the 10th seed in the West. That's how dominant Boston is right now. With regards to the rest of the Eastern Conference. To your point, man, the only thing that can derail, I mean, ideally, if they play good, sound basketball, man, to the best of their ability, solid defense on top of patient offense, Boston got to take it this year. I think some people have Denver penciled in for a repeat, but I think the consensus, man, for most analysts and everything is, I think the only reason that some people are picking Denver
Well,
to
what say
beat,
you about the Celtics and their chances just
I think the
coming
Celtics are
out
going to
the
be there.
East?
I think it's a given. I think
They're
it's
in the
like
Eastern Conference Finals.
rain
Pencil
is
them in.
rain is wet, fire is hot.
Water's
The
wet.
Celtics, yeah, rain
All right, so the
rain is
Celtics
water,
in the Eastern
right?
Conference. Right.
And the Celtics are coming out of the Eastern Conference, absolutely.
Right. Right. That's that. Why is water
It's
wet?
water's wet, sky is blue, fire is hot. The Celtics will represent the East this season in the finals.
Right. Okay. The Bucks, will they right the ship so they can at least be a formidable foe?
Um, I don't see it, man.
You don't see it? All right.
I don't see it for one prime reason. Forget Doc Rivers, forget the lack of defense, forget anything. You know, the prime reason is because Giannis Antetokounmpo is not settled in his role. There's times towards the end of games where this dude is dribbling the ball, facing up on somebody and stepping back and taking jumpers. You are not Dame Lillard, dog. That's why y'all brought Dame Lillard here. Give him the rock. Let him take those shots.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Turn back into that defensive dude that you used to be, man. Dame is here, so Dame can score. Other people will score. Giannis is an isolation type of player, man.
Who they lost to? The Wizards and
yeah, man.
They lost to the Wizards this past week, and they also lost to the Grizzlies last night. So, to your point, and I think Dame was out in either one or both of those games. Right. So it leads back to your point that you mentioned last week, where they have an identity crisis. Giannis definitely does. And I think he needs to really take a look at himself and his play and kind of like make some adjustments. I'm not going to say changes because he is who he is, but make some adjustments. You know, I would rather he be that dude trying to go north and south and slamming somebody's face or take it to the hole and get him the ice grill and talk shit while he's running up and down the court. That's his game. And he's physically gifted and his skill set is crazy. And around the rim, he's going to get buckets. Now, Dame Dillard needs to be the closer. Now, that's on Doc Rivers to rein that in and to make sure that when the Bucks are in those crucial moments during the game and he sees that they're going off the rails or swerving off the road, that he calls his timeouts appropriately and he comes up with, a play that he comes up with on the sideline and he gets the team back on course. So I think it's a 50-50, but then again, in the playoffs, Doc, outside of his run with the Celtics, has not had that much success, especially in crucial moments, game sevens, etc., clinching games, elimination games. He hasn't had good luck, man.
Doc bamboozled Milwaukee, man.
Yeah, man.
I even heard something where they said, or there was a report. Somebody interviewed Doc afterwards, after they hired him, and he basically alluded to the point, like he alluded to the organization, like, nah, you shouldn't get rid of Adrian, keep him, but then they were saying like, no, they wanted to go in a different direction or whatever. So he was just letting them know if they was going to do that, this is what you should look for. This is what you should do. This is how it should be or whatever, what have you. And then they kind of came to him and presented to him like, yo, we want to let him go. And, would you be interested? And he was like, nah, I wouldn't be interested. I'm good. Don't get rid of him to give me no job because I'm not interested.
I heard.
And they was like, all right, bet. And they ended up firing him anyway. And then back the truck up like, Doc, are you interested now? And he was like, you know what I'm gonna do? Say no to the bread. But Yeah, Doc, man, that they I think this is poetic justice, man. If you believe in karma,
Mhm.
um,
It'll
if
come
you
back to
believe
bite you.
it's biting them now. It's biting them now.
But
They
I
not.
mean, the playoffs is when it's going to be the telltale sign.
You're
'Cause I
right.
mean, even the you try to fill all holes in the ship and stop any water leaking right before the playoffs is most advantageous. But if you definitely don't take care of it the week of the going into the playoffs or about before you start your matchup, the fortunate thing is that they can sit down on the side and watch the play-ins for a couple days before they have to get back at it. Now let's move on from them Bucks because I think we could talk about their demise for a while because it's definitely happening. Them Cavaliers, man, do they make it past the first round this year?
Um, yeah, I think so. If they hold on to that third seed, yeah, I can see them getting out of the first round.
Okay.
Unless, of course, the Knicks, fall to 6.
Mm. And then they have to play the Cavs. Well, okay, so now speaking of the Knicks,
You know what? Actually, I take that back, man. I think one of the things we did last season that got to the Cavs, man, is do you know Julius Randle is probably, and I didn't even realize this, and man, I've been racking my brain all day, but my son told me yesterday, Julius Randle is really the only post player still in the game, yo. Only dude, AD on occasion, but the only dude that gets that rock and will go down in the post and bang shoulders with somebody and go up hard trying to fight for rebounds and punish you
mm,
offensively in that
mm,
paint. And there's not many. Matter of fact, I can't think of anybody because even AD is not like that physically punishing down in the paint. You know what I'm saying? There's nobody I can think of that's like that right now.
well,
Um,
Embiid is back. Embiid.
yeah, but even Embiid, well, he's taller than anything. But even him,
Well, I
he
mean,
likes to.
Embiid is down. Embiid bangs
This is
in
true.
the
This is
post.
true. This
He
is true.
bangs in the post.
This is true. I give
But
him that.
to your
But
point,
the
Randall
point I was
does
making, the
bang.
point I was going to make real quick was the fact that the reason why we got Cleveland was because the physicality got to them and it intimidated them and then it took them out of whatever they was trying to do.
Mm.
And without Julius, we don't have that physicality no more.
Who's gonna
So
have to step up then in the absence of Julius Randle? Because
I
he's
think
done for the
scoring wise,
season.
we can, we've shown dudes have stepped up with shooting, if nothing else. You got Deuce, you got Dante, you got
Mm,
games where Josh, is all next level big guard or whatever the case may be.
right.
But at the end of the day, that post presence, the rebound, the all around game is going to be it's particularly the intimidation in the paint is one of the main things that we're going to miss. If
Mm.
OG comes back, I don't think OG brings that. Hartenstein is a monster. He doesn't bring that. Um,
What about
you know,
Mitch? What about
Mitch
Mitch? Is
brings
he
it.
coming
Mitch
back?
brings it on the defensive side. Mitch is back. He's playing now.
Okay.
Um, I
But
see.
he
I
got to
see.
work his way back into the
He does.
offense.
He
Okay.
he definitely. I mean, but that's the crazy part because Mitch wasn't really ever an integral part of the offense per se,
Hmm.
outside of offensive rebounds and maybe catching lobs and putbacks and stuff like
Well,
that.
that part,
But
you know.
yeah, I think staying in the third seed, um, Cleveland can definitely get out of the first round this year.
All right. What about the Heat and Jimmy buckets? So the way that it is now, the Knicks would face the Magic. I'm giving the Knicks on experience and Jalen's ability to take over a series like it's a March Madness tournament. Um, takes the Knicks over the top if the matchups remain the same. The Knicks versus the Magic. I got the Knicks. I know you got the Knicks. Let's move on to the Heat. Jimmy Buckets got another run in him, man.
That's who would, if the playoffs started today, that's who would play Cleveland.
Okay. And Jimmy could definitely take over the series and beat them.
Yeah, you're right.
And then
You're absolutely right.
then
They've shown they're nothing to sleep on.
Terry Rozier, who lit up the Knicks. Was it last week? I saw him light the Knicks up for like 30 plus. He and Tyler Hero, if they get clicking, and you got Bam clicking, the Heat can make a formidable run. But how far is it gonna get them? though? I don't like. It's like they can get there, but I don't think they're gonna be able to take out the Celtics if they make one of those runs. I don't see it. And then you got the Pacers are up and down, topsy-turvy. Now, the X factor now is Joel Embiid coming back to the Sixers. You have arguably the most dominant big man in the game.
If Philly stays in that 8th spot, it's a first round exit. Whoever got to face Philadelphia, whoever got to face Boston in that first round. I don't
know in the short series with Embiid back, because
did you see Embiid last night or the other night? My man,
he put up like 25. He ain't gonna have his lungs back.
It, yeah.
That's his first game back, but he still put up 25.
Yeah,
nine rebounds and like 5 or 6 assists. His first game back, and they won. So their stamina is good. He's got about 6 more regular season games to get his lungs back. But that's going to be an interesting matchup if Embiid if he can give you 25 and 5 a night. That's a big improvement from what they had so far during this last stretch.
I agree with you, but I don't think I still think just
you think it's Boston's year.
I don't think there's anybody in the East. There's nobody in the East that I'd put money on beating Boston in a 7-game series. I will subscribe to the Denver train of thought, and that's only because Denver has that experience, and then they have arguably the best player in the game right now.
All right, let's move to the West. You got the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first spot, actually tied with the Nuggets. OKC is 1 game back. You got the Clippers 5.5 games back. The Mavericks, the Suns, the Pelicans, the Kings, the Lakers, and then the Golden State Warriors in the 10th spot. And they've given themselves a little distance from last week. They're 3 games up on the Houston Rockets, who are slowly fading with about a week left in the regular season. So Timberwolves, Nuggets, OKC. Who's finishing number 1?
Nuggets,
okay. Who you got? Timberwolves or OKC in the 2 spot?
That's a tough one, man. I'm gonna go with
That's a pick 'em. Yeah, that's a flip of the coin.
That's definitely a pick 'em. But I'm gonna go with Minnesota.
Is SGA out?
No,
I saw him on the bench the last couple games.
No, his ass wasn't on the bench against us 2 games ago. So, yeah.
Okay. So Timberwolves, is Cole Anthony Towns coming back?
No, he's done.
He's done.
Arthroscopic or meniscus or something like that. ACL. Okay. I don't know what the case may be.
All right. So, how far of a run do you think the 2 young teams have? The Wolves and the Thunder. OKC.
I think the Wolves probably have a deeper run in them, just from the
salute
from the leadership aspect.
Salute, Tennessee. Salute, brother.
From the
leadership J58, aspect. Big up.
So,
yeah, because that's what I was saying. I saw SJ sit out a couple games. He was in street clothes for a couple games, and he was on the side, just clapping and cheering. He ain't do a Ben Simmons, but I noticed that he. I
don't think it's anything serious. I don't think it's anything serious. And they clinched the spot. So
yeah, those top 3 clinched. Yeah. Then they're followed by the Clippers and the Mavericks. That'll be an interesting matchup. But those 2 are kind of like in the middle of the pack. Right. But I think the experience that the Clippers have, barring injury, because we talk about this every year when it comes to the Clippers, man. PG come up lame and limping. Kawhi Leonard, come up lame and limping. Harden does a Harden. They definitely need Russell Westbrook back to give that intensity and defensive energy and just that heart
Definitely
that he
missing
brings to
Westbrook.
the table. So they play the Mavericks. That'll be an interesting matchup because then you got Luka Brasi and Kyrie versus a stat Clippers team. I don't think the Rockets catch the Warriors this year. With a week left, they're 3 games back. The Warriors would have to have an epic demise and fall in order for the Rockets to catch them. But they have made a strong run towards the end. And, of course, they got a hell of a coach. What do you think, Ty?
Rockets are definitely not eliminated yet. And they're on the kind of roll that makes a team not want to have to see them in a one and done or do or die situation.
But they're not even in the play-in though, G. They 3 games back.
They're still eligible for the play-in. It's
like they're not
7
mathematically eliminated, but let's do the math. So the Warriors would have to lose how many games?
The Warriors would have to lose
like 3 or 4 games at least, right? And the Rockets would have to win out at this point, G.
They're exactly 3 games behind Golden State. Exactly.
Right, so
3.
they would have to win out. As far as
I'm not
Clippers,
sure about, and I'm not sure about a tiebreaker or anything like that. So
right, and then wink, wink. Like the association and the networks want to see the Dubs, because all the talk about this is the demise of their dynasty and so forth and so on. And the same is, being said about LeBron and the Lakers in his twilight years as an NBA pro. The big wild card is the Phoenix Suns, bro.
Yeah. Phoenix don't got no bench though. So it'd be them just trying to shoot the lights out against everybody, man. And just continuously having hot nights. And that's not a good recipe for the postseason.
Hold on, there was a hot take that said Tennessee Throw Therapy Radio 808.
Yeah,
big up
Stefon
and salute.
Diggs.
Yeah, they got Stefon Diggs, right? I have to disagree with that because the Texans are trending upwards, and what they did last year without Diggs, and they have a young team, young coach, young quarterback, and they have been building to add to that. So if Stefon Diggs doesn't come to the Texans and plays his part and kind of humbles himself and cut out all that BS that he does on the sidelines and keep balking at his QB, he will mess it up if they allow him to. But as far as the Texans, I'm confident that they'll be right there within the next season or two with the Ravens, with the Chiefs, depending on what the Bills do. You got to talk about what the Steelers do, now that they got Russell Wilson and Justin over there, and that's another question too. Will it be Justin or will it be Russell that starts in Pittsburgh? So, those are questions coming up. And then you got the NFL draft for quarterbacks coming out. So it's going to be very interesting. You give who? Houston and CJ Stroud? You get them 3 years? I mean, I can't argue with that, man, because on the show here, we bigged up CJ Stroud, who had exactly, if not the greatest, one of the greatest I would say rookie season ever, especially at quarterback. The only other quarterback that I think had a better rookie season than him might be Dan Marino, so I'm definitely seeing the Texans trending upwards. The question would be, and you can add on to this side, would be if Diggs comes and adds on, or he's subtracting to take your line from earlier, addition by subtraction, is he going to be addition by addition when he gets to the Texans? Because he can't subtract and take away. Because to me, he becomes a journeyman after that.
He'll be an addition, and if not,
hopefully,
you saw how
he's a
successful,
hard-headed ass brother, bro.
You saw how successful they were last season without him. They made a couple of moves. So I think, like I said, man, he might be in a position of realization to see where, to say, I got to be on my best behavior here because, like we agreed earlier, this is kind of like a contract year for me. You know what I mean? And then it's a change of scenery, so I can't have the same grudges or hold, the same excuses like people got it in for me or this, that, and the third. Or, they want to see me fail because they wouldn't have brought me here if that's the case. We got a chance to win something. So this is when, if there's any maturity in that, brother, this is when it kicks in right now.
Yeah, let's hope so. Word. Definitely hope so. I agree. I give the Texans like three years, if not sooner. Thanks for checking in, Tennessee Throw Therapy Radio 808.
Salute, Tennessee.
Salute, brother. And definitely big up to everybody out there listening. So the wild card of the Suns, man. So the bench is not thick enough, not strong enough.
Yeah, it's the bench.
It's the bench. Okay. So the play-in tournament. Who do you see taking? Is that going to be the Lakers? Is going to be LeBron time?
Yeah, because the Lakers there's so many teams that's playing good right now.
Right. It's the end of the season. It's do or die. It's like win or go home type season, man.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I would say the Lakers on the X factor of LeBron and AD. If AD is the X factor to me, and your man D'Angelo, if D'Lo and AD and the supporting cast can step up, LeBron gonna give you what he does during the playoffs over, and I would have to say, like, listen, his career is being extended and definitely his numbers are being elevated by the lack of defense in the NBA. Like, I don't really see teams playing defense like that anymore. I see like a lot of wide open spaces. Like there's no more full court presses unless it's the closing parts of the game. There's no more half court presses, and that has led to offensive numbers that we have never seen, I don't think, in our lifetime. All right. So yeah, man. So we're gonna move on from the NBA. So who you got coming out the West? It's still the Nuggets.
Definitely got the Nuggets, man. The Clippers were my dark horse at one point, man, before Westbrook got hurt and they started dropping, but definitely one of either Denver or Minnesota. I don't think OKC is ready yet.
All right, cool. So we're going to move on live from the Diamond, MLB 2024, week 1. Let's pitch the standards before we turn to double play. Got New York Yankees, American League East. They're at the top at 6-1, followed by the Red Sox, surprisingly, at 5-2. Orioles are 4-2. The Blue Jays and the Rays are at the bottom of the American League East at 3-4. Central, the Tigers are undefeated at 4-0. Then followed by the Guardians, the Twins, the Royals, and the White Sox are in the cellar at 1-4. The West, we have the Texas Rangers at 4-2. Los Angeles Angels, I don't even know what their name is anymore. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, or I don't even know, man. But LA Angels, man, 4-2. Seattle Mariners 3-4. Astros are surprisingly your pick and Cato's pick. They're starting off slow at 2-5, and then you got the Oakland Athletics.
We jinxed them.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
Me
and
too.
The Oakland Athletics are at 1-6, and they just announced that they will be moving to Vegas.
Yo, but didn't you hear the other thing that they're going to be playing in some minor league park for like the next 3 years? That's crazy. I think they said they're going to,
They're going to be in Sacramento.
yeah.
And then they're moving to Vegas.
But for 3 seasons, you're playing in a minor league baseball park? That's crazy.
Hey, man. It happens. It happens.
You're right. You got to do what you got to do. But, man, like, how far the mighty have fallen, man.
But Oakland has kind of been like a franchise that has not really been, well run and winning. So,
yeah,
because at the end of the day, they could have moved to San Francisco, played at some college arena or something there, as opposed to going to Sacramento. But we'll see how that works out. I don't even know. I was looking at the stadium. The capacity in Sacramento doesn't even look that big, but they're willing to take an L because ultimately, yes, Sac is more trash. Yeah, so they're gonna take a hit, right? Moving to Sacramento, but the big picture is that they're then gonna move to Vegas. So we'll see how that works out for them. National League, moving along to the National League. We got Cato Cash's Atlanta Braves with a sluggish start at 3-2. Followed by the Nationals, the Phillies, the New York Mets, and then the Miami Marlins. The Mets have started off slow as well. So,
slow.
Yeah, they've started
not
off
as slow
real
as Miami,
sluggish.
though.
Yeah, they're 0-7. So definitely, and to your point, although you made a joke about it, the Pittsburgh Pirates are off to a good start at 5-1, followed by the Brewers in the Central.
Shouts out to Kenny Harrell.
Yep. Then the Chicago Cubs at 4-2, and then you got the St. Louis Cardinals at 3-4. Moving on to the West, amid all of the scandal that's been surrounding the team and their one of their star players, the Dodgers are off to a 7-2 start. So winning usually quiets a lot of noise. So that's what it is. And they're followed by the Diamondbacks, Padres, the Giants, and the Colorado Rockies. So it's very, very early in the season, but I just want to say that I'm happy to see that the Yankees are off to such a great start. Although they are playing without their Cy Young Award-winning pitcher Garrett Cole.
Yep.
So we're gonna move on, and can we just get straight to it, man? Guts and ice, man. Let's just get straight to that brawl with the Rangers and the Devils. We were talking about the New Jersey Devil last week for other reasons. Now we're talking about them this week, man. That was a line mashing. 2 seconds in, the puck drops. Here we go. And this has been an ongoing feud. Bong. So now, is this good for the NHL?
It's wonderful for the NHL, man. They love it. That's one of the big draws to the NHL, man, is seeing people going into the penalty box, dropping gloves and throwing fists, man, and
I mean, for the old NHL,
yeah,
but for this new era of play,
it's dumb. It's just dumb, yo. It's been dumb to me. It's always been dumb. I just don't understand it.
Fighting in the NHL goes hand in hand,
but it's dumb.
It's like that tough guy bravado type of thing,
right? Bro. Like they jealous of the NFL or something, or boxing, or I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
So you say nay?
I say it's dumb. I say it's dumb. I don't think that brawl. I think, man, it's just all it's done was increased visibility, man, for the NHL. But at the end of the day, man, fighting in hockey,
hockey purists love it though.
Yeah, they love it because it's just one of those traditions of the game and stuff. But it's kind of dumb to me. Like, all right, let these dudes blow off some steam. Let them stand there and punch each other in the face back and forth, and the refs stand there and watch it. And
sometimes they can't stop it. Like you got two
You hit
Grown
dudes,
men,
hit these dudes in their pocket like they do to, and don't get me started, but hit these dudes in their pocket like they do in sports dominated by black players, and I bet you they'll stop them fights. But they won't, because to your point, and to the point I was kind of making earlier, fans like that. Traditional hockey fans like to see the fights. So,
well, to be continued. The
yeah.
Rangers won that matchup 4-3, so we definitely gonna wait and see if they meet up in the playoffs. Well, the Devils are out of contention right now, so we're gonna have to wait on that. But the Rangers have clinched a playoff berth, and they have the number 1 seed right now.
Yep.
Hometown Islanders are vying for a spot, so we're gonna wait on. So we're gonna get more into that leading into the playoffs. Let's move along. Let's get down, to our monsters of the week with the monsters of the week. Call them out.
Me and you got the same monster, I'm pretty sure, man. The Bombers, baby. Hot start, and then 4 against Houston to sweep Houston to start the
they
season
swept
without Garrett Cole.
Right.
Huge.
Right.
Huge.
Yeah.
As Michael K would say, huge.
Juan Soto, definitely big up to Juan
Soto is an incredible pickup, man, and definitely he's talking about how other guys on the team are having a positive influence on him, but I think it's the other way around, man. And
it might be reciprocal. I think it to what we were talking about with Diggs and the chemistry and enjoying what you're doing, having fun, because there's nothing like playing a little boy's sport and getting paid millions on top of millions of dollars to do it and be winning. So Juan Soto, definitely a monster of the week. Caitlin Clark, definitely a monster of the week. I got to give it up to Paige Buckets too. Definitely another monster of the week. Aaliyah Edwards. I got to just pick up the both brackets, the women and the men's NCAA March Madness.
Oh yeah, that's another
DJ
one.
DJ Burns.
NC State men's team, 11th seed in the Final Four. Big up.
Right. Yeah. So DJ Burns,
underdogs and monsters.
Yeah, exactly. So any other monsters of the week right now?
No, that's it right now.
Okay, so orphans. Who's not in your network? Let's think about that one.
That's
the orphans.
They're not on our network.
They rumble anyway.
The Mets are not in my network. The Mets.
I was trying not
New York love too, man.
I was trying not to go for low hanging fruit, man. Shouts out to the Mets, man.
The Mets are not in.
Shouts out to Flushing's
in the network. And I would have to say, man, the Bucks, man. The Bucks, they're poor play, man. They're orphans to me right now, and they're not in my network.
And since you touched on the Bucks, man, Doc Rivers, man, good old.
He's not in your network.
Yo, JJ Redick called him out a couple of weeks ago, talking about Doc is the kind of guy that would throw people under the bus as opposed to accepting responsibility. And I was reading something today, man, where he was talking about the Bucks' lack of professionalism on the road. He said from trainers to staff to players to I don't know who else, man. It was just so funny, man. It was just so funny.
That culture was already there, though.
But again, man, for firing Adrian Griffin, man, poetic justice to you.
Speaking of JJ Redick, he has a podcast with LeBron.
Yeah.
And LeBron was asked who were the most impactful players NBA, and of course he snubbed MJ, he snubbed Kobe. So I don't know. I'm not feeling that podcast. I think JJ Redick is a prick sometimes, and he comes off like, yo, I played basketball, you didn't. Like with that sort of aura, that condescending aura, being the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant male prick. I don't feel him. But him and LeBron, were on a podcast, just real light. He left off MJ and Kobe, who were two of the most impactful players, to ever play, man. That was
Yeah,
kind of
I watched like the first 15, 20 minutes, man, and I tapped out.
right.
It was very highbrow for me as far as just it was more like, I mean, it was as promised. It was X's and O's, and I remember this game, we did this, and this is why I do that, and very, and the sipping wine, and it was very, it elicited yawns from me, man, and I was just like, okay, this is not super interesting, man. So I had to kind of keep it pushing, man.
I got
but,
you.
But shouts out to them too, though, for the I mean,
I don't know that it's something off with that, man. Because to me, it's like, okay, JJ Redick is like the biggest LeBron propagator. Now they have a podcast, like miss me with that. Like if you're gonna be like, yo, I'm better than MJ, better than Kobe, then just come out and say it, but don't snub them and not give them their credit where it's due. I
gotta see the context, because I don't.
Yeah, check that out.
You're saying they
snubbed them, bro.
Snubbed them in what context? What was the category?
Who are the most impactful players ever to play, bro? No mention of MJ or Kobe.
So who did he mention?
The only one that he mentioned was AI and Steph. But check it out for yourself, man. He's an orphan to me right now. BK Ty's top 5, man. Let's go.
It. Let's get it. So top 5 for today, from BK Ty, is the top 5 wealthiest former NBA players. Top 5 wealthiest former NBA players, no longer playing. All right, coming in at
Latrell Sprewell.
Number 5. It's definitely not Latrell Sprewell. Coming in at number 5, we have the Diesel, Shaquille O'Neal, with a net worth of over $400 million. Shaq, one of the most dominant players in NBA history, has proven to be just as formidable off the court as he was on. His net worth, like I mentioned, is estimated at about $400 million right now. And that's a real testament to his business acumen. Shaq's wealth stems from a wide array of business ventures and investments, including owning multiple fitness facilities, car washes, food franchises, and real estate investments, as well as successful endorsements with Reebok, Nestle, Buick, Papa John's, Hulu, Epson, etc., etc., etc. Definitely one of my favorite.
He got one with Home Depot.
Yep, Home Depot as well. He's definitely one of my favorite former athletes.
Players. Yeah, I could agree with you on that.
For sure. Coming in at number 4, the former Piston great, the microwave, Vinnie Johnson. Former NBA player Vinnie Johnson, who earned the nickname Microwave for his rapid scoring outbursts on the court.
And bagging Dennis Rodman's wife.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Back in the days.
That's crazy.
The microwave.
But he successfully switched gears into the entrepreneurial sphere in 1995 when he founded the Piston Automotive and expanded what is now known as the Piston Group beyond its original Detroit location, where it shares a name with the local NBA team, the Detroit Pistons. Under Johnson's direction, looking like? Under the direction, Vinnie Johnson, $500 million is his net worth. The Piston Group boasts an annual revenue exceeding $2.9 billion.
Wow. Yo, you know what? I didn't even hold you on that, G. I didn't even. You dug on that one because Vinny, and he played back in the 80s when salaries weren't that high, that inflated, bro.
That's right.
That was a good dig.
Yep. Coming in at number 3, everyone knows this success story, or everyone should. We have the incomparable Junior Bridgman, former Milwaukee Bucks stalwart from the mid 70s to the mid 80s. who currently has a net worth of 600 mil. Junior Bridgman might not have been the highest paid player at any time during his NBA career, but his financial playbook is one for the ages. Bridgman laid the groundwork for his post-NBA career while he was still playing, purchasing a Wendy's franchise and working at that franchise during the off seasons to understand the business. Upon his retirement, he owned 249 Wendy's and more than 120 Chili's branches, among other investments and industry holdings. His success story, turning his modest NBA earnings into a staggering net worth of $600 million, is a testament to the power of diligent planning and strategic investment. Coming in at number 2, take a guess who's number 2. So far, we have Shaq, Vinnie Johnson, Junior Bridgman.
All right, I would say
it's pretty obvious.
Either Kobe or LeBron. Rest in peace, Kobe.
Okay, this is all former players.
Oh, former. Oh, excuse me. My bad.
Former players that are still alive.
Former players. Who? Barkley?
No. Number 2, Magic Johnson, the former LA Laker great, with an estimated net worth of $1.2 billion.
Wow.
Crazy, but it's not when you think about it. The legacy of Magic isn't confined to his time with the LA Lakers. He also has become a formidable businessman since ending his basketball career. So much so that he is now almost as highly regarded for his business moves as he was for his moves on the court. His financial success is attributed to collaborations with corporations such as Starbucks and 24-Hour Fitness, as well as economic interests in multiple sports franchises. Remember, he was part of the Dodgers. I think he still is.
He still is, yeah.
Definitely part of the Redskins. I'm not sure who else.
Minority stake with the Lakers. Remember, because he deferred part of his contract to get minority ownership.
That's right.
Oh, he got LA Sparks too.
I know
he did the Starbucks, and I remember he did the Starbucks and he did the movie theaters.
Yeah, because he had one over there in the East. That was like one of the first one of the chains that he put out. And the first one he got on the East Coast, the Magic Johnson Theater, was over there off Linden Boulevard.
Off of Linden?
Yeah.
That was him? Okay.
Yeah.
And I know he had one up in Harlem.
Yeah. But definitely one of the first and most successful examples of how athletes can harness their notoriety and triumphs within sports into expansive business endeavors.
All right, let's get to number 1. We know who's number 1.
Coming in number 1, Gio Marine's favorite NBA player of all time. The great, the incomparable, the GOAT. That's right. I'm calling him the GOAT because it's not even an argument. Michael Jordan. Often hailed as the greatest basketball player of all time, MJ is not just a sports legend, but also a financial heavyweight. The lion's share of Jordan's fortune comes from his business ventures off the court, even though he was one of the first players during his playing career to totally eclipse his playing income with his off the court endorsements.
While he was still playing.
While he was still playing. His playing money was like, here, kids. I mean, the money, his NBA salary was like, here, kids, that's y'all allowance. And his endorsement money was what, got the houses and all that other, crazy
otherworldly.
Yes, otherworldly possessions.
Tony Stark's money.
Come on, man. His wealth skyrocketed when he sold his majority stake in the Charlotte Hornets. I think it was just this past season. And his lucrative endorsement deals, particularly his long-standing partnership with Nike. Michael Jordan's success story is a testament to the immense financial potential beyond the game. And that's top 5 wealthiest former NBA players by your man, NBA tie.
NBA tie.
Right, NBA tie. That's me tonight. I'm NBA tie.
All right, this what's up, my G. NBA tie, man. Any closing comments, man, before we get up out of here?
Shouts out to my Knicks, man. I think they just pulled it out over Sacramento, man. Shouts out to Julius Randle, man. Should have had that surgery a long time ago. As it stands now, they said the soonest he'll be back is probably the beginning of September before he's cleared for any kind of physical activity or workout or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He could have been ready for that during the summer if he would have just went ahead and had the surgery. I know he was trying to tough it out because Julius Randle is definitely a warrior. And I also think part of that is the Knicks trying to, I won't say deceive, but kind of conceal their intentions and force the hands of other organizations, especially at the trade deadline. You don't know what the Knicks is going to do. You don't know if Julius is going to be back, but he'll be missed, man. But I'm not really broken up about it because a healthy New York squad, as we were playing this year, I think would play Boston tough, but would still fall to Boston. So a New York squad with half of Julius or Julius that ain't 100% and Mitch that still ain't 100%, we ain't have no chances. So yeah, I'm not losing no sleep over it, man. Just see what we do next season and run it back. And if not, run it back better. But yeah, that's the last thing I want to say, man. Shouts out to Julius, man.
All right.
Get well, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off of that. Pause, no pork. And just say, definitely next, man. We still rooting for you, and make a strong run in the playoffs, man. And let's see where the chips fall. Definitely got to shout out them Bronx Bombers. Big up that BX team. You know what I mean? Doing that work, putting that work in at 6-1 with no Garrett Cole, mind you. Big up Juan Soto
or DJ LeMahieu.
LeMahieu's out also. Big up Juan Soto. Definitely a big superstar addition that has made an impact right away. And I think he's going to make Judge and the whole team better because he does it all. He runs, catches, hits for power, hits for average.
I mean, out the gate, first game, man, big defensive play to save the game.
He's got a gun. He's got a gun for an arm, so definitely big up the Bombers. And I hope they keep the course, man. Big up to the 718, big up to Sports in the City, big up to the Arena,
big up 757, two up, two down,
IRAT Network, the Ranters Union. Definitely shout out to J58, everybody who was checking in. Ja Logic, Kato Cash, man, come back to the Lions Den, man. Don't be scared. Just come back, man. And big up to you out there, everybody listening. Tennessee Throwed. Big up, man.
Salute to everybody checking in. Salute to everybody checking us out. Salute to anybody that hit the subscribe and like button. We appreciate it. Much, enough love. IRAN Network.
Yep.
One love.
Ja Logic. Yo, to you, BK Ty, my man, 50 grand. A brother from another mother, man. Brother. And we out, man. Till next week.
For sure.